What kind of a mount are you looking for? A backyard pet your children can grow up with? Or a reliable trail animal to help you enjoy the high country? Do you love a reining spin or the intricate moves of the dressage arena? Do you long to be flying high on a jump course? Or does driving a Surrey with the fringe on top sound like your cup of tea? Whatever kind of equine companion you're looking for, you'll want one that will perform in a safe, obedient manner. The purpose of these programs is to help you understand mules and donkeys and learn how to handle and train them correctly. Now, we know that not everyone watching owns a mule. Some of you own horses. Well, there's something here for you too. You'll notice that these are simple, easy-to-follow lessons. They're designed to teach you a variety of correct training methods for horses as well as for mules and donkeys. The result? Whether his ears are long or short, you'll have a well-mannered, well-trained animal. This program features segments from an award-winning video series created for the equine industry by acclaimed trainer and educator Meredith Hodges. Because of this, you'll hear occasional references to the videos and also to the workbooks and field cards that are included with the video series. The field cards that come with the videos are a great training tool that can be taken right into the arena. We'll be sure to give you information on the complete training series later in the program. Now let's learn a little about Meredith Hodges and why so many people rely on her as their training consultant.
Hello, my name is Rick Knopfsinger. I've been teaching ridden dressage and combined driving in Colorado for a little over 15 years. In that time, it's been my pleasure to watch Meredith Hodges mature and grow in her understanding of how horses and mules learn. She's become very knowledgeable about training techniques that bring out the best in her animals. As a result, she's taken her mules into arenas where they have never been before: dressage and combined training. Now, Meredith, she really loves her mules, and she's probably done more to promote the breed than any person I know. This same enthusiasm carries over into her teaching. She combines this enthusiasm for teaching with training techniques that have proven successful time and time again. She'll show you how to take your animal and develop a very positive, trusting attitude towards people and training.
Mules are wonderful animals. They're strong, intelligent, affectionate, with a great sense of humor, and what incredible athletes. But training a mule is different than training a horse. When you're training a mule, you have to take into consideration the donkey half as well as the horse half.
Doing the right kind of preparation before hitching your equine to a vehicle will make your driving experience safe and enjoyable. This week, we will teach you exercises that will help your equine to understand his job and will enable him to do it calmly and safely.
Each week our program covers a different phase of management and training. No matter what kind of equine companion you're interested in, you'll find techniques that will help you reach your training goals and bond with your animal in the process. Just remember, the keys to success are patience, kindness, and understanding.
Hi, I'm Meredith Hodges. My goal in presenting this series of programs is for you to understand mules and donkeys and learn how to handle them in any situation. In today's program, we'll teach you how to train your mule or donkey to pull a vehicle. I think you'll find the techniques used here both useful and logical, and they certainly will lead to a positive relationship with your animal. But you should realize that this program can't possibly teach you everything there is to know about teaching your animal to drive. It would be wise to consult other sources and possibly even a professional trainer. If you'd like more details about what's being shown here, we'll provide information at the end of the show about how to order the books and videotapes that accompany this series. Let's get started.
In this tape, we'll focus on training your animal to pull a vehicle. As we all know, at one time, harness horses and mules were a necessity to civilization. Today, for the most part, these animals fill a recreational need, and driving is one of the fastest growing sports in the equine industry. While there are some practical applications connected to pulling contests, most people want nothing more than to drive for pleasure or competition. This tape is a starting point for you. It will show you what you can do and how it's done. However, before we begin, you need to understand something very important. Driving a horse or mule is very different from riding. The details are more important, and it's much more difficult to learn the basics, let alone the finer points. Let's take an analogy. Let's think of riding as driving a pickup truck, and driving a horse or mule is flying an airplane. Just because you can drive a pickup truck doesn't mean you can fly an airplane. And if you need to fly a plane or want to fly a plane, you need more than just one lesson to become a pilot. The point I'm making is this: driving is fun, and it certainly looks easy. But of all the equine activities, it is the most potentially dangerous, not only to you, but to many other innocent people. If you get in trouble while riding, you might get thrown off. If you get in trouble while driving, you end up with a runaway animal and a careening vehicle crashing into everything in its path. So please recognize that driving can be dangerous, no matter how experienced you may be. And if you're not experienced, don't rely on this tape alone to train your animal to drive. Get some driving lessons from an expert. While this video features simple, easy-to-follow lessons designed to teach you correct training methods, use it as a supplement to a teacher or coach. Look at these lessons as an investment in your safety and success. Make sure your driving experience is enjoyable and safe.
Here's some tips to make training easier for both you and your mule.
It's very important to remember that mules love routine. Get in the habit of covering everything he's learned before going on to something new. For instance, if today's the day he's going to be harnessed for the first time, go through all the steps he's learned before. Tie him, make him stand quietly, brush him, pick up his feet. In other words, cover everything you've taught him before, just don't take quite as much time. By now, your young mule is used to working several times a week for 45 minutes at a time, with the last 15 minutes spent on something easy and relaxing. You're building on that solid, loving, working relationship you built from the time he was a foal. But now you're ready for the fun part of his training.
Last time we talked about selecting and fitting the harness properly, and we reviewed lunging and ground driving techniques your mule needs to have mastered before being hitched to a vehicle. Today we'll cover even more methods for making sure your mule is ready to drive. When training an animal to drive, you can neither be too careful nor prepare too much. For the next phase of training, you'll be working with an assistant in a small arena or round pen. Your mule needs to get used to seeing and feeling more scary things, so we're going to take sacking out a step further now.
A harness is comprised of many flapping leather straps, and he must be desensitized to their effects before it is safe to hook and unhook. Shafts bumping against his body can also be frightening, and who knows what scary things he'll encounter on a trail or in a parade. Your goal with this lesson is to make him as bulletproof as possible. Take him to the round pen wearing his halter and tie him to a stout post or use an assistant. If you have a horse, you will always use an assistant. This will be his workstation for his harness training. Begin with something he's already used to, the saddle blanket. Then gradually add bells, add sacks of cans, add a tarp, and anything noisy and floppy. Here's how you sack out with an assistant helping. As with all his training, begin slowly and build his confidence so he realizes that these things will not hurt him. Reward him as he learns to be calm and accepting of things he can see as well as things touching his body. When he can handle these things, put on the driving bridle with blinders and allow him to get used to things he can't see but can hear and feel. When he accepts being sacked out with these things, add a PVC pole to desensitize him to the feel of the shaft on his body. You will need a PVC pole of about 18 feet in length. At the workstation, begin gently touching his body with the pole. Reassure him that all is okay. As he accepts the pole, touch him all over his body. If he remains calm, your next lesson should be with him in harness. With your assistant at his head, bump the pole all over his sides, his head, even between his legs. Next, loosely pop one end of the pole into the harness loop. Have the assistant walk at his head as you drive from behind, holding the pole. Drop the pole and let it drag. Finally, bend the pole around his rump and let it go suddenly. Your purpose is to show him he has nothing to fear. When he accepts being touched with the PVC pole, you can take him to a larger arena for the next step of training. I like to take my mules into the indoor arena for this because the walls are solid. Otherwise, an outdoor arena with rail fencing is fine.
Don't work in an arena with wire fencing or stock panels. It's too easy to get a shaft stuck. I use a slightly longer PVC pole for these exercises. If you have problems, it's easier to grab a longer pole and pull it out of the tugs. When he's handling the pole well, tighten the tug strap and begin to ground drive him around with the assistant walking along beside him. You have control with your lines and your assistant is there as a safety backup. Your goal is to get him used to dragging the pole, feeling it bump beside him and along the ground. Make sure the pole is connected loosely enough so you can pull it out in an emergency. Your assistant should try to stay on the inside so that she doesn't get trapped between the mule and the wall if you run into problems. Ground drive in both directions with the pole on the left side. Then switch the pole to the right side so that he gets used to feeling the weight in the bump. Finally, pick up the pole and carry it as you drive. Let the pole bump into the arena wall or against the fence post. Go a few steps and let it go suddenly. Bend it around his rump on a circle. Eventually, you can even lunge him with the PVC pole in place. With the pole on the left and him going around counterclockwise, he feels it against his shoulder. When he reverses, he feels it bump against the wall of the arena. Do these exercises at a walk and then a trot, both directions, until he's totally calm about it. A mule who is steady and responsive with a PVC pole in the tugs simulating the shafts is ready to pull an object. In the next phase of training, we'll teach your mule to pull some weight.
Colorful Colorado, with its majestic Rocky Mountains and wide open spaces, also boasts the Loveland Longyears Museum and Sculpture Park at the Lucky 3 Ranch, home of some of the finest mules and donkeys in the world. This working ranch is just 40 miles north of Denver. World-renowned authority on mules and donkeys, Meredith Hodges, invites you and your family for an adventure in learning you won't want to miss. Come visit the Lucky 3 Ranch, meet Meredith, her champion mules and donkeys, and take in the beauty of her Longyears art for the experience of a lifetime.
Hi, I'm Meredith Hodges, and welcome to the Lucky 3 Ranch Training Tips. The basic equipment for pleasure driving is a harness, and its function is to attach the animal to a cart. There are many styles and sizes of harness. Each is built specifically for a certain breed, or to ensure optimum performance at a certain event. But there's a third factor: safety. In driving, it's especially important that you have good quality harness. My suggestion is to buy a new harness to fit your specific animal. Look at buying new harness as an investment and buy the best quality available. Along with good maintenance practices, this will ensure the longevity and safety of your equipment and provide you with peace of mind. A harness bridle is similar to an English riding bridle. Major differences are the addition of blinders that are sometimes called blinkers and bearing or check reins. Check reins hold the equine's head up and aid in collection. There are two types of check reins. There are over checks and side checks. They both keep the equine's head raised to an optimum position to keep the collar from sliding down the neck if the equine tries to lower his head. If your equine gapes his mouth, you can add a flash noseband to the existing noseband of the harness bridle. The harness collar, the harness, and the traces are what actually attach the animal to the vehicle. There are two types of collars, a neck collar and a breast collar. I prefer to use a neck collar because it doesn't shift as much as a breast collar. The traces are attached to the collar via the hames, one on each side running back to the vehicle. The rest of the equipment is an elaborate girth rigging called a saddle or surcingle. This supports the weight of a two-wheel vehicle, absorbs road bumps, and carries the shafts. These are often padded underneath with a separate harness pad. The crupper keeps the saddle from slipping forward. Breeching is used so that your animal can stop the vehicle and back it up. Tugs attached to the saddle support the shafts. A kicking strap can be attached to the shaft, so if your equine kicks, the strap over his rear prevents him from getting his hind legs up high enough to do damage. The whip should be well balanced with a drop lash long enough to reach your animal's shoulder. You may also use training aids such as the elbow pull or emergency draw reins to give yourself more leverage and to keep your mule in the proper frame. Take the time to make sure you understand how each piece of equipment should fit and that your equine is comfortable and stays calm. If it fits properly, he will soon become used to the blinders on the bridle and to the flapping leathers, and to things that he can't see happening behind him.
Here's an engineer. How did you know that? So we go see a huge mule. Because this head, you're fine. Stroke with the hair, that's what you gotta do. Okay, come on, boys, let's go. Come on.
Every owner knows that a well taken care of equine is a happy equine. More and more, a technique being used to enhance our animal's overall conditioning is equine massage.
What you have to realize is you're training an animal in their muscle tissue, and their muscle tissue has to be able to perform the task that you're asking the animal to perform. If you're having a hard time doing the advanced things, you need to go back to the beginning. The massage helps break the pattern of the neurons that fire to that muscle, that tell it to contract, to contract, to contract.
With proper instruction, just about anyone can learn to give their equine the benefit of basic massage.
I've been working on equines for a long time, and a lot of people look at you and hope that you can just come out and make an animal better. And you can't do that. It takes two pieces, the massage as well as the exercise. And the exercise is actually more important than the massage. And that's something that people really have to understand. And Meredith's tapes do that. And a lot of people don't want to take that long a time frame. They just want to do their 60 days, get on the animal and ride them. But that's not really where you can go with their backs.
For more intensive therapeutic massage, be sure to consult a professional. Equine massage not only enhances your animal's health and overall condition, it's also a deeply personal and rewarding bonding experience for both of you.
Many of you who love your horses also love your dogs. This type of massage can be beneficial for all your pets. If you want to improve your animal's quality of life, I can help. I can either teach you how to do it, or I can massage your dogs for you. Contact me at dogmassage.com.
Hi, I'm Meredith Hodges, and welcome to the Lucky 3 Ranch Training Tips. At some point in your equine's training, you may want to teach him to drive as part of a team. A pair harness is similar to a single harness with two major differences. First, the lines are coupled together in what is called split lines for convenience. And second, the mules are hitched to each side of a pole or to a combination of swingle trees. For a team, the continuous line on the split lines goes to the outside of each equine and attaches to the bit ring. The left line goes to the left side of the animal on the left, and the right line goes to the right bit ring on the animal on the right. The other lines are stitched to the continuous lines and go to the inside bit rings on each equine. Take the stitched line on the right-hand equine, run it through the terrets on his left side, and attach to the bit ring on the right side of the left-hand equine. Then take the stitched line on the left-hand equine, run it through the terrets on his right side, and attach it to the bit ring on the left side of the right-hand equine. The stitched lines will be crossed between the animals. The stitched lines are adjustable for proper tension to each of the animals. The driver will have one right line and one left line in his hands, so that when he pulls, it will pull both animals on the same side for direct rein action. In other words, when he pulls the right line, it will pull both animals' bits on the right side, and when he pulls the left line, it will pull both equines' bits on the left side. Be sure to do all the groundwork with the team that you did with the single equine. Begin by laying the PVC pole over the rear coupling and ask your assistant to control it. Have your assistant push it forward and then pull it back. Push it forward to the wall and let it scrape the wall in front of the animals. Pull it back and let it scrape the wall behind them. Gently bump their legs, shoulders, and sides with it. Then lunge the team together on a lunge line to assist them in learning to move together as a team, unobstructed by the pole or any other obstacles. Next, let the team drag the tire. This helps them to begin to pull in harness and distribute the pulling weight between them. Having them pull something light before being hitched allows them to learn to move in sync with each other without distractions. Finally, take them to the obstacle course for a final lesson before hitching them to a vehicle. It is as important for a team to gain coordination together as it is for equines to gain individual coordination on top of their strength and balance in good equine posture. Drive them over the tarp. This is one instance when it may help to put an experienced equine with a green one. However, make sure your experienced equine is a very solid, dependable animal, or he'll be teaching your green animal bad habits. Cross the bridge, and even go through water hazards whenever you can. Be aware that your green equine must successfully complete all stages of training that you've practiced up to this point solo before he's ready to become part of a team.
Teach your mules amazing things.
Okay, soldiers, let's go. Yes, sir.
Teach your mules amazing things.
Artwork inspired by mules and donkeys is quickly gaining popularity. Tennessee mule artist Bonnie Shields has the uncanny ability to capture the fun-loving nature of these free-spirited animals.
They were like a horse, but they weren't like a horse. They had a little different body. They used their body a different way. They certainly had a different mental attitude. So they started intriguing me as an artist, and I kept finding the differences between them and the horse, both physically and in their reaction to things. So that started my love affair with the mule. When you deal with the mule, you're not always in charge. So it takes a little bit of a different kind of personality to appreciate the mule and to work with her.
She was the only artist that could really capture the essence of mules and donkeys. Because mules and donkeys are really good teachers and teachers of life lessons. And Bonnie has just been an inspiration to me ever since. Wow, how'd it do?
Whoa. I know that all through the years, Meredith gives tours to the ranch. But what a wonderful addition to this whole ranch would be a sculpture park just for the mules and the donkeys. So I just thought it was an awesome idea. And then she let me be part of it. It's a wonderful thing. And when you come to visit the Lucky Three, it's just an added bonus.
Mule people, you reckon I can get Meredith to make a tape on how to teach your mule to shovel snow? I sure gonna try. Wish me luck.
just a wonderful human being, and working with her is always humorous. She is just funny as the day is long, and so I thought that she would be absolutely perfect as the illustrator for the Jasper series that I wanted to do.
The Daydreamers was inspired by a thing that I saw years ago. I heard about this family up in Kentucky. They'd been working tobacco out in the field with their mules. And one of the boys, he was laying across this mule's back, laying in the shade. They'd been working, and he was resting on the back of his mule in the shade. That just kind of stuck with me, and I thought, gee, a kid like that, you know, he thinks he's stuck on the farm. He thinks he's stuck doing all this terrible old work, and he's laying up there and he's daydreaming about getting away from it all. So that's where Daydreamer came from. Sculpture's not the only thing I do. Matter of fact, I got into sculpture maybe a little later in my career. Mostly, I was known for my pencil drawings and my acrylic paintings for many, many years.
Long ears art. It may be whimsical, like a cartoon, or it may simply be breathtaking. Long ears are taking their place in the world of art, and it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Prepare your mule to pull a drag by having your assistant put weight on the ends of the traces. Here's how. Run the traces through the tugs and use a length of baling twine to attach a 6-foot lead rope to the end of each trace. Standing well out of kicking range, the assistant will hold the end of a lead rope in each hand and follow behind as you move the mule forward. The assistant should gradually pull, increasing the pressure against the traces. It won't be long before the assistant is almost skidding along. You can even run the traces between his legs to prepare him for any situation. When your mule tolerates this, he's ready for a drag. Every trainer has a favorite device, but I prefer an old tire with a length of nylon strapping. Begin as you would any new obstacle. Show him the tire, then have your assistant drag it a bit with him watching so he knows what it sounds like. Then move him in front of the tire and have your assistant drag the tire so he hears what it sounds like but can't see it with his blinkers on. Finally, position the tire behind him. Here's how to attach the tire to the traces safely. With trace extenders made from a loop of baling twine, easily released in case the mule panics by just letting them go. Once the mule is securely hooked, pick up the lines and move into position near the tire. The assistant should control the tire since it's very heavy. Ask him to walk on. It's hard to predict how he will react this first time. The tire is noisy, the traces will rub and flop against his sides, hocks, and legs, and he'll feel the weight of the tire. It's best to keep your drag sessions short. Each succeeding lesson can be longer, and you can add some of the familiar patterns. Eventually, you can even have him drag the tire with the traces between his legs, in addition to the correct position, so nothing surprises him. It won't be long before he's used to feeling the weight against his collar and the flap of the traces. The next step is to create a simple travois with 2 poles and a flexible crosspiece. The poles are put through the tugs and held in place with the wrap straps. You can use twine to attach a snap to your traces and attach to eye bolts on the crosspiece. Their opposite ends drag on the ground behind your mule. This accustoms him to the feeling of the 2 shafts, weight, noise, and drag. You can begin by ground driving him with the travois, then eventually lunging him. If he tries to run off, just drive him into the fence and stop. But it will only take a few sessions for your mule to learn to tolerate the shafts. Remember, each mule is different. You might only be able to take 2 or 3 steps with the shafts the first time, or they may not bother him at all. At any rate, take all the time you need and exercise patience to help him overcome his fears. The time you take now will reap rewards in the future.
Next, we'll talk about working with a team of mules.
Sometime in your mule's training, you might want to teach him to drive as part of a team. A pair harness is similar to a single harness with 2 major differences. The reins are coupled together, and the mules are hitched to either side of a pole or to a combination of single trees. See how the lines are constructed for a team? The continuous rein goes to the outside. The other rein is stitched and goes to the inside. Watch now how the lines are actually attached. Make sure you do all the groundwork with the team that you did with the single. Just lay the pole over the rear coupling and have your assistant control it. Next, let the team drag the tire. Finally, take them to the obstacle course for a final lesson before hitching to a vehicle. This is one instance when it may help you to put an experienced mule with a green one, but make sure it's a very solid, dependable mule, or else he'll be teaching your green mule bad habits. Also, be aware that your green mule must successfully go through all the stages of training we've been talking about to this point before he's ready to learn to be part of a team. While pleasure and recreational driving are fun, the mule's roots are truly based in agriculture, so it's natural that your mule should be trained to work in harness to earn his keep. Once your mule has learned to pull as part of a team, your chores around the ranch will be simplified, and you can have some fun at a county fair in a weight pull. When they're ready to be hitched to a vehicle, take them into the area of the arena that you are using as a workstation. Tie them with a lead rope attached to the halter to a stout post. Remember, mules need to learn patience and to stand in their harness. Bring up the vehicle and quickly hook to the single or double tree. Here are Larry and Fran Howe with a team of draft mules. By the way, this is only the 6th time this team has been hitched together. In the beginning, a team may be unsure about what's expected. One may pull harder and one may slack off. Eventually, though, they will learn that it's easiest if both pull equally. They even coordinate their strides. You can use objects you have on the farm, like hay bales, to simulate a real competitive mule pull. You can make your own sled and use hay or cinder blocks for weights. Chalk lines can be made from any kind of white powder, like lime or even flour. Now watch how Skip and Jerry Jackson teach their team to work a drag. See how Skip and Jerry's training simulates a pulling competition? They have a chalk line on the ground, they drive the team to the start, the assistant calls out, "You're hooked," they drag the weight the required distance and unhook. There are several important principles to keep in mind. First, it's important that you reward your team for their efforts by letting them rest. Second, don't overweight the team during training. This will only discourage them. And third, make sure your team knows your signal to put out an extra effort. Since a whip is not allowed in the pull classes, you must rely on a verbal command. Some people say, "Dig, dig," and some may say, "Get up, get up." But there are no standard verbal commands in pulling. After all, you might be in an arena where several teams are competing at once, and you don't want to confuse your animals with a command that another team is using. Your team will quickly learn to pull evenly with a burst of effort just with you hollering encouragement. Once they learn to pull, you'll see why George Washington originally imported mules to work his farm and how the mule earned its reputation for steadiness and reliability. In our next show, we'll demonstrate how to hitch your mule to a cart and go for your first drive. You won't want to miss it.
Having problems? Need an accessible trainer? Whether you're just a weekend trail rider or showing, the principles of training are the same. You want a safe and reliable equine companion. Produced by Meredith Hodges, Training Mules and Donkeys, a logical approach to long ears, will help you build a good working relationship with your animal. Meredith reveals the secrets of successful maintenance and resistance-free training that can be implemented by anyone, resulting in a satisfying partnership between you and your equine. Meredith answers your training questions promptly via mail or phone. Her books are great general resources and her videos are detailed, outlining the day-to-day exercises needed to produce a versatile and dependable equine companion. Meredith's techniques work with all equines. Do you have children, grandchildren? Check out Jasper, the story of a mule. For more information, check out our website at www.lucky3ranch.com or call 1-800-816-7566.
Mules are working their way into the hearts of people everywhere. If you'd like to know more about these wonderful long-eared animals, you can contact us at 1-800-816-7566 or get on our website at lucky3ranch.com.
Dusty old quilt hung crooked on a couch in an old stone house by a lazy river.